Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Headbangers React. Tonight, we're doing something a little different. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Jason. And with me tonight, as usual, is your friendly host,
GoreCore. How's it going, everybody?
Everybody's doing great, GoreCore. I mentioned earlier we're doing something a little different tonight.
Yes, we are.
We just got back from seeing a feature film at the cinema.
Yes, we just went and saw Evil Dead Rise. First place to start with this, right off the bat, let's just dive right into it, is, did you like the movie? Right in.
Dive right in.
Did you like the movie? Is it a thumbs up? Is it a or is it a big fat thumbs down?
Oh, we're going to get into the score right away. Okay, well.
We will elaborate after the fact what we liked and what we didn't like, have a little discussion about this, give our overall opinion about what happened throughout the movie. I don't know. Are we doing spoilers?
You decide. It's your channel.
Yeah, I don't really care. We can do spoilers.
We'll do spoilers. We'll just make sure we tag it as
yeah, so I'll give a warning, of course. So, you go first. What was your overall... You can give a score, or you can just thumbs up, thumbs down. I know it's kind of hard to pick a number sometimes.
I think for me, Evil Dead Rise was a perfect 5 out of 10.
Okay. It's right down the middle.
It's right down the middle. If I didn't see the movie, but I knew what I know now, I wouldn't care.
Okay.
I'm completely indifferent to the entire thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. My take, I guess, if we're going to go numbers and give a score, I'm going to give this a 3
I knew
out of
it.
10.
I knew it was going to be a 3.
Yeah.
We didn't discuss that. I just knew it.
Yeah, he knows me too well. We've been friends forever. By the way, this is my bandmate, Jason. We play in the band Cephalectomy. We've been doing it for, 25, 30 years, something like that.
Time.
Yeah, a long time. And that, so
You're really
obviously that's
dating
why
us here.
he's doing the show with me, because, we thought this would be fun, and we're both longtime Evil Dead fans. So,
We are.
how do you want to go about this? Do you want to start from the beginning to the end kind of thing? You just want to talk about what you did like, what you didn't like?
Let's just talk about what we did and didn't like.
Okay, where do you want
I
to start?
feel like
What you liked or what you didn't like?
there are definitely some scenes in the movie that are good.
Yes, absolutely.
They are good. The problem is you recognize them at the time that, oh, this is the good part.
Yeah.
And the rest just kind of trods along. It doesn't feel like it's engaging all the time.
Absolutely.
I found myself thinking about how many tropes are just being recycled. It just didn't grab me. It wasn't entertaining in a way that I was hoping for.
I mean, there were some interesting shots. I like some of the camera angles that were used in the film. The gore, was all right. There's a lot of blood, but really it wasn't very violent, I didn't find. They splashed a lot of blood around, but not really a whole lot happens. I definitely expected it to be more over the top than it was.
I don't know. I think there were some pretty fucking brutal scenes in it. The scissors up the nose hole was pretty cool. The cheese grater, well, you see the start of it in the trailer, seeing the actual grated leg was okay. I found the special effects were on that one.
Honestly,
because there was no blood.
Well, for that,
You remember it looked like jelly or
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it actually dug into the flesh.
No, it didn't.
It looked like
just
somebody
pulled.
had smeared blood on the cheese grater and pulled it across your leg.
Yeah, absolutely.
It didn't feel effective.
They could have went a little farther with
Especially
that.
given that everybody seems to go on about this cheese grater scene. I've seen posters with the cheese grater, and really, it wasn't that effective.
No, there should have been a long strands.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting it to be a multiple,
a dig in, what you would do with a block of cheese, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just tear the flesh apart, and I really didn't have that impact at all.
No.
I really felt like this movie overall was the trailer. It really just... Those are the key points, and then it really just filled in the gaps, and what it filled it in with wasn't necessarily good. I really expected more. Probably shouldn't have, but I did. Again, I'm not a fan of the remake. Did you like the remake?
No.
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 I thought I'd let you speak for yourself.
No,
I already knew the answer.
I did not enjoy the remake, no.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to like this better than the remake. And honestly, I did like it better than the remake, but sadly, marginally. It didn't do what I wanted from a new Evil Dead movie. And some people were like, oh, well, there's no Bruce Campbell. That's why you didn't like it. I don't care that Bruce Campbell wasn't in it.
I do.
Okay.
I love Bruce Campbell.
Well, I love Bruce Campbell too, of course. I would have loved to have Bruce in this. Everything he's been in has been great. But I do think that you can have an Evil Dead movie without having Bruce Campbell.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, it hasn't happened yet.
You could have one, but can it be good?
That's true. I can't disagree with that because it hasn't been done yet, as far as my opinion goes.
Thanks for watching.
So I do think you can have a movie that doesn't have Bruce Campbell in it, but I mentioned this when I watched the trailer for this movie, that I don't think you can have an Evil Dead movie without Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
I think it's his direction, his angles, his just way of telling a story that really gives the Evil Dead movies the roller coaster feel that they have. And this just trudged along.
Yeah.
I really wanted to like this. I went into it being like, okay. And then something would happen that I was like, it's okay. Not really grabbing me, but let's forgive it. Let's keep going. And then there'd be something that I did like.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's a cool angle.
Yeah, absolutely. There's good stuff like salt and pepper amongst the movie.
Yes, exactly. Like, there's a pretty cheesy intro to this movie where it's in a different location and basically one of the deadites comes out of the water, and they had this with the whole intro with the title comes up in the background of the scenery and stuff like that. And I thought it was totally cheesy, but at the same time, I actually liked that.
I enjoyed that as well.
And
I also thought it was cheesy, but it works well.
Yes, I like the cheese in these movies. That's what gives them their fun factor. And I think probably that's what part of the problem of this movie was, is that it tried to take itself too seriously, and with the seriousness, it becomes over dramatic. And when something becomes over dramatic, it becomes less effective and less fun.
Are we going to get to the line now? You know what I'm talking about. Near the end, she's going full Bruce Campbell, and the line is so forced.
Are you talking about the quoted line, or are you talking about the one that...
come get some...
Yeah. So, our main protagonist has a line where she says, come get some, and it just felt forced. A big part of what is lacking with this movie is originality. The thing is with the Evil Dead movies, each one did something new and different and exciting and fresh. The first one's just a visceral horror movie, and that just basically from the start to the end just pulls all the punches. It's a gore fest. It is cheesy, of course, but it's a lot of fun, and it keeps the movie moving. I'm not bored watching that at any moment. Evil Dead 2 ramps it up and goes for more silliness and over the top and these crazy angles and this very unique look that really, what other movie has done that since?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a very unique movie. Evil Dead 2 is a one-of-a-kind movie. And then you got Army of Darkness that turns everything around, and we really barely have any horror elements to it at all. But then, of course, we have the over-the-top, cheesy, silly one-liners, and then we bring in, the Jason and the Argonauts kind of look with with all the deadites and the skeletons and stuff like that. And it was just something fresh and different. So it keeps things going and interesting and unique, basically. Whereas this basically just wanted to play tribute to the original movies and couldn't find its own way and do its own thing. There was no shots in this that were really particularly interesting.
No, wax on, man.
It really just felt like, hey, I'm going to try to copy some of what Sam did, and then I'm going to do my style, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll open this can of worms. At a certain point in this movie, it decides that it wants to be the thing.
Yeah.
Like, we've got these people that are melding together into this weird monsterish creature that
straight out of the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And really, it wasn't to its advantage. It became slow moving, cumbersome. Like, as a deadite that can levitate and move quickly and respond quickly, like, it just felt like it was moving backwards. They claim this is the evolution, and it's like, well, it feels like the de-evolution.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't. There's no advantage to this. Like,
no, there wasn't. It just from an evolutionary standpoint.
Again, it came from a try-hard point of view where it was like, we need to just do something that's more over the top and ridiculous, but didn't serve the story well. That's how I felt about it, anyways.
Yeah, same.
What did you think about the characters?
That's
some setup.
Yeah. I honestly, a lot of the time, I don't like kids in movies. The young kid was kind of the standout actor here. The blonde-haired fella too. He was really good. The
son?
Yeah, he was pretty good. I found a lot of the older siblings' lines cheesy and not really well delivered.
Yeah, it didn't feel like good dialogue.
And that may be more casting and the writing in general.
Absolutely.
There's not a hit against the actress at all, but it just it wasn't. It didn't jive.
Yeah. I didn't gel with the characters. I wasn't like, oh, I'm really invested in these characters. As you mentioned, probably my favorite character of it was actually the youngest daughter. I think she did good. There was a couple moments where it felt a little bit over dramatic, but as a child actor, I think she did quite a good job overall, but just the whole story in general and the way everything was delivered, it just fell a bit flat for me. I really was not invested and didn't really care what happened to these people.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's just...
Also, I found there was a real problem with telegraphing. There was a lot of shots on things that matter later in the movie, like the scissors, the Staphany, was it Staphany? With the doll head on it, and it breaking to the sharp point. You could just have it breaking. You don't have to focus in on the point itself, being like, oh, look, it's broken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like it tried to drive its points too hard, but you lost the effect by having that. It's like, well, this is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Everything involved.
It felt very predictable.
Yeah.
Like I said, it really was the trailer with a bunch of filler. I was actually super disappointed because I was hoping that the trailer was really just a tease of what we were going to get, and no, it really isn't.
It's pretty much the movie.
Yeah. It really is. I mean,
the all killer, no filler version.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the moments when they actually tried to scare us in the movie, it wasn't really effective. You saw it coming. It didn't hit hard at all. I mentioned to you there was one part in the movie that was a minor scare, and it's basically... There's a scene in the movie where she opens the door and her sister scares her, and she basically almost punches her in the nose. Like, she does hit her, but obviously not that hard. But it came as a quick surprise, and that's like the only spot in the movie that jolted me at all. Like, anything from the rest of it, like... I was pretty much wanting to look at the time and wondering when this movie was going to be over.
Yep.
Like, it started to drag on towards the end, and just... Yeah, I really wanted to like this movie. I wasn't going to go to see this in the theater. I had said that in a trailer review, I guess a trailer reaction that I did for this. And, you know, then I kind of got hyped up about it and let myself sink back into that again. And
it's reviewing very well.
Yeah.
A lot of people like it. I mean, the guy we went to see it with, Matt, he loved it.
We had another friend that was with us.
So maybe there's something wrong with us. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know for me, like, honestly, like, I hold these movies so near and dear to my heart that I'm just... It's really... you know,
yeah, I get it.
There's a high mark to hit there for me to be happy with a movie with this name.
And it's quite possible that you never would be.
Yeah, that is very possible.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I really don't think you can have these movies without Sam Raimi. To me, and you said this earlier, the closest thing to a new Evil Dead movie was Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
You know, there's no Bruce Campbell in that, but just the way it felt and the pacing and everything of that, I can clearly tell that's Sam Raimi.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
his style,
absolutely.
it's his feel, and I don't get tired of that movie. I've watched that movie. It's one of the only movies in the last 20 years that I've watched multiple times, and I'm not tired of.
Yeah.
To me, this feels like the director wanted to make one movie, and the producers wanted to make their Evil Dead movie, and the two got blended together somehow, and this is an amalgamation of what?
Yeah. It's too bad, really, because I think if it had went strictly in either direction, it could have been really good.
Yeah.
But it did. It felt torn between two different...
I think I hoped for more playfulness in it too. It did have a little bit at moments and stuff like that. One of the scenes I did like was the whole like who's gonna... I don't know if she say who's gonna die first or who's gonna run next or whatever.
Yeah.
I think who's gonna run next is maybe what it was. And we got the eeny, meeny, miny.
Yeah.
You know,
that was pretty good.
It was like it had a little bit of that silly feel that comes from like Evil Dead 2.
And the problem was they kept it too serious, but then would just sprinkle in this moment of levity that just it didn't bite because there was no lead up to it. It felt forced. Because there was so much seriousness and darkness, and then all of a sudden it's a cheesy quote.
Yeah, you kind of got to go one way or the other.
Yeah,
you got to embrace that and really like take that in. Like, it just doesn't work to try to be overly serious and then try to be silly with it because it just is two conflicting feels that just don't really work together.
Yeah.
Okay, so to name a few things that we did like about the movie, was there any part of the movie that was like a high point for you that you were like, yeah, I wish there had been more of that, or that's really one point in the movie that did stand out that I enjoyed?
I really enjoyed the elevator scene with them almost drowning in blood.
Okay. You can never have enough blood, right?
It was impressive, just the sheer amount of blood they used.
Yeah.
It was a lot of blood.
Yeah, definitely.
And then that elevator comes crashing down, the doors fly open, and the dummies come out with the blood.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of blood. It looked very forceful. Like it was well done. And all practical.
Does it remind you of anything?
Yeah, I mean, Shining, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
It absolutely was an homage to The Shining.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It was still impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a lot of blood to contain there, and and deal with it. I'm sure that wasn't probably a fun scene to film.
Yeah. The child actress who was in this movie may need therapy for several years.
It's possible.
Because she was involved in all these scenes. Like, she was there, and there was a a lot of red liquid.
Yeah, that aspect of it is definitely impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a young girl like this doing the scene, like, I imagine that's pretty daunting and over the top.
Yeah,
Like,
and you know the great thing about these movies is they have psychiatrists and shit on set.
course.
They don't screw around with this kind of stuff. There's too much liability now.
absolutely. Yeah, so you know she's okay.
Yeah, 60 years
But she
ago.
definitely went through a
Not
lot.
much.
Yeah.
Now it's much better.
So is there anything else you enjoyed about the film?
No.
Fair enough. So myself, if I have to, point out some things that I did like, I of course like the fact that they did bring levitation back to this, but they really didn't use it. They used it in the intro. There's a few moments it felt more like a lunge than levitation in this, where the characters jump.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like some of these scenes where the main antagonist is like, I think like when she gets out of the tub and stuff like that, they do this
Too much of that.
weird crawling effect
much of it.
that tries to do this like new thing that modern horror movies do that I really don't. Yeah,
Heard.
so overdone, so overplayed, just really not inventive, not effective.
Yeah. Ever since The Ring, the kid getting out of the television set, and that was fucking like 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, get over it, do something new. That's what I'm talking about. It really didn't bring anything new to the table.
It didn't. It just rehashed a lot
It felt
of
like a
ideas that have been done
like
before.
let's just jump them all together.
Except for the cheese grater.
Yeah,
Cheese grater was new.
it was a new idea, but I still don't think the delivery was great.
It wasn't well executed.
I feel like it just missed the mark in a lot of places, but
We're really fussy though.
We
like
are.
listening to us complain, I'm like, oh shit, I just talked myself down to a 3 out of 10 as well.
I think I've gone down to a 1.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Okay, so things that I did enjoy, like I said, I did like that one jump scare in the beginning because it wasn't.
That was pretty good.
It was pretty subtle and like quick, and I didn't expect it. So if you can catch me off guard, I'm definitely happy about that. Obviously, I did like some of the angles, and we mentioned that it needs to be its own film. I do still think you need to have Evil Dead elements in there. So of course, those POV shots that we have and stuff, I did enjoy those in the film. I don't think they were used enough.
No,
I think that
so
could have been
either.
emphasized a little. It didn't have to be all the time, but that's supposed to be this, demons or entities.
Let me ask you something though. The setting, because we haven't really talked about this. All the other movies, except for, of course, Army of Darkness, were based in like a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
This is in the city.
It's got an urban setting.
Yeah. What did you think about that?
Well, it's kind of hard to gauge because, for one, just not really being happy with the film automatically makes me want to say I don't like the setting.
Work.
Yeah,
Fair
that
enough.
it didn't work. I don't know if it's the setting that caused that issue or if it's simply the fact that it just wasn't a well-told story with an interesting premise. And
Fair enough.
I mean, really,
Yeah,
though. I mean,
yeah.
because you can go out into the cabin in the woods and have a horrible story. I've seen that before too in other movies, and it doesn't. I don't think your setting makes or breaks it. I definitely prefer the cabin in the woods sort of thing. It's a more creepy, in the dark in the woods, alone, nobody around you.
Right.
Like, obviously, we had interaction in this movie from their neighbors and whatnot, stuff like that. And really, it didn't add anything to the movie. If anything,
really
it kind of
didn't.
took away.
Yeah.
We've got this kind of almost redneck kind of character in there who's like a gun-touting, like...
And I found all the characters very stereotypical.
Yes, that's the thing. Like, they weren't interesting. Like, I was really not invested in any character in this. If anything, the little girl was the only character I had any investment in. It's like, obviously, as a horror fan and a gore enthusiast, I would have been happy if they'd have chopped her up. But at the same time, if you were rooting for anybody to survive, it was definitely her. So,
Partially because she's like 6 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you're looking at it from an angle of innocence. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I'm steering away from the stuff that I do like once again because I need to tear on this a little bit. Again, we get the potty mouth language.
The potty mouth language.
Yes. Okay. So this is one of my issues with the remake was just adults swearing at each other when they're possessed. Like, it doesn't add anything. If anything, it sounds childish and like bad writing. I was really hoping that there wasn't any of that in this movie.
Yeah.
And then the first time it happened, I was like, okay, I didn't really like that, but we'll forgive it. And then it happened again. I was like, no. And I found myself in the theater shaking my head because I was super disappointed because that was one thing I really didn't like about the remake.
Yeah.
And the fact that they retread it here.
Yeah, there was one point in particular where the old guy with the shotgun was a deadite, and he called her a "see you next Tuesday," and I was like,
Oh, I actually didn't catch that.
"Oh no,
No.
yeah, he calls her. He's like,
Oh.
come here, you see you next Tuesday."
Okay.
And it's just, it felt so just thrown in just for the sake of using the C word.
Yeah, like
and it was just like, oh, come on, do better.
That's the thing.
Like,
I don't find that effective. Like, what
No.
is scary about an adult cursing? We all swear. It's not scary. This is the thing, and I'll say this again, is that the reason that that vulgar language worked in a movie like The Exorcist is because this is a young child.
Yeah.
A young child doesn't talk like this. They're not spurting out these obscenities.
They're not supposed to.
No, yeah. I mean, okay, we live in a different time. So obviously, when The Exorcist came out in the 70s, that was extremely vile language that really wasn't, you never saw that on
It was taboo.
film.
It was very taboo.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And that, so, yeah, and it had an effect because you're like, this is really out of character for this child, because when you're introduced to her earlier on in the film, she's very polite and well-mannered and stuff like that, and a normal kid. And then that extreme change really had an effect. As an adult swearing, you just sound like an idiot. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we all swear, but I mean, for the sake of effect and like trying to be like, it doesn't add any scare factor.
It doesn't
any
add scare factor.
If anything, it
doesn't
really
add-
takes away for me.
Yeah, it takes me out of the moment.
Yeah, like,
absolutely.
I would have, like, even in the early movies, like the first Evil Dead was like, you will die. Like these quick, like, things, like,
yeah.
it's not vulgar, but it's just quick and it's just like right to the point. And I felt like this tried to really hit home with certain things that it didn't need to, and just need to get right to the point instead of messing around.
Yep.
It just didn't really. Again, I hate that sort of childish. Again, I have no problem with swearing. It just feels forced and unnecessary.
Another thing I did like, the main actress.
Alyssa Sutherland.
Yeah,
is her name,
Alyssa
I think?
Sutherland. Yeah. I thought she did a fantastic job.
She definitely did good.
I think the writing for her character was not the best.
Yes.
But I think she did a good job with what she probably had for direction.
Yes, for what she was given.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to blame the writing on that for sure.
Yep.
I think
And partially you have to blame the direction as well.
absolutely
Yeah.
in that. Yeah. So I think as an actress just performing the part, she did do a good job.
Yep.
In that,
I agree.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
for
it's
sure.
just unfortunate the part wasn't written better.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably being pretty harsh on this, and some of you guys won't be happy about this, but at the same time, we're not here to bullshit.
No, and their opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
Please don't.
Yeah, if you love this movie, then that's fine. I'm sure you have your reasons, and there's merit to it for you. As a longtime Evil Dead fan, it just doesn't feel like an Evil Dead movie to me. It had some Evil
No,
Dead.
and I found myself thinking, this would be a great movie, I think, if it wasn't Evil Dead.
I definitely would have liked it more
Yeah.
if it wasn't Evil Dead. Again,
And that just affirms our Evil Dead bias.
I said this is a 3 out of 10. My guess is if I had to watch this and this wasn't an Evil Dead movie, its
Yeah.
own thing, maybe I would have given it a 5 or 6.
We are being a little overly harsh. It's easier to focus on the negatives sometimes. And
course.
I don't, my memory's not the best.
also
I don't
big-
even
it's
remember.
big-
We just saw it, but my memory is terrible, so I don't remember
Yeah,
other parts.
and you're in the moment of it
Yeah.
too. Like, I would definitely have to watch this movie again to really give a more in-depth
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
review
for
of this
sure.
and exactly what bothered me and what not. I'm trying to go off of what
we remember
one watch.
from-
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be more harsh on it than other people,
Yeah.
but
Sorry.
yeah, sorry.
Not sorry, though.
We want to give you an honest reaction to this.
Yep.
Again, like I said, we're not here to bullshit. This is just our opinion. If your opinion is different, that's fine. Everybody
Yep.
has their own opinion.
Yeah, and the guy we saw with loved it. And
Exactly.
we didn't kill him.
No,
or beat him up.
I mean, he's not here right now.
Oh, we
But-
shouldn't have brought that up.
On that note, let us know what you thought about the movie. Leave in the comments down below. Hope everybody has a wicked sick day. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel.
By stabbing it.
Yes, stab the subscribe button. What else do we want to do?
I don't know. Just take a big old hammer and just whack that bell right upside
There
the
you go.
head
If you'd
for
like to get our
notification.
yes, if you want our future updates, and hopefully we'll get more videos out there where I can get Jason back on here. doing
Hopefully
this.
not.
He loves the camera. Thank you for joining me. I definitely appreciate it. Wait a second. You're
Oh.
the host now.
Yeah. That's enough.
On that note,
Stay sick.
stay sick, everybody. Cheers.